Thank you. Thank you. How are you? Wonderful to see you again. After a long time.
Yeah, very long time.
Hi, how are you? Good, good, good. How are you doing?
Welcome to Mogele.
Wonderful.
Yeah, how are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. General, how are you? Good.
Okay.
How are you, my friend?
It's tiny, a little bit.
Very well, thank you.
God bless you.
How are you? Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How are you? Thank you. Wonderful to see you again. Huh? Wonderful. Huh? My first time and we're happy to be here. The talking was yeah? Yeah. He's telling me
Bankole Adoye, the Executive Secretary of IGAD, President Debretsion of the Tigray region, our esteemed religious leaders from the different faiths, would like to welcome you. My name is Alhaji Sajaba. I'm the Director of Conflict Management at the African Union, and it's a singular honor to welcome all of you, and of course to welcome our member states and our partners, bilateral and multilateral at the back, for honoring our invitation at a very short notice. My job this afternoon is very simple. My dear brother, Dr. Gideon, the head of delegation for the FDRE, we welcome as well. At this point, we have a program which we have shared, and I think we are going to proceed. We know that we have a commercial flight that has to get back to Addis. We've made arrangements to delay it a bit, but we don't want to delay it much further. Excellencies, I think we are here for a very important ceremony as part of the implementation of the cessation of hostilities of agreement, which was signed on the 2nd of November in Pretoria, South Africa. Excellencies, without further ado, I just want to report back to President Obasanjo that last week when we were in Nairobi, everyone kept calling Getachew general. So I said, well, if Getachew is a general, I also have to be a general. And both of us were decorated by President Uhuru Kenyatta. But now that you are here as the real general, we're not going to use our titles. So I just wanted to say we relinquish our titles until we get back to Nairobi. That is my friendly advice. Don't use general around here.
That will be illegality committed by President Uhuru.
So I think President Uhuru did it under the full power panel, but we'll reserve that for Nairobi when we get back there. Excellencies, without further ado, at this point I would like to invite my boss, Ambassador Bankole Adoye, the Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security, to deliver his remarks. Ambassador.
Chief Commissioner, Ambassador, Excellency, former President of the Republic of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, Minister of Justice, President of the Tigray region, Executive Secretary of IGAD, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Interreligious Council, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the chairperson, I want to welcome you to this very important ceremony. But it goes beyond a ceremony. It is a right step in the right direction for peace. It is a right step in the direction of silencing the guns. It is a right step for African solutions to African problems. So today, we are all witnesses of history. But history in the making, given the steps and measures both parties must continually make towards lasting peace, as was signed in Pretoria on the 2nd of November 2022. The African Union is very pleased, very proud to be associated with this landmark. And in this, permit me to especially thank the high-level panel comprising the former president of Nigeria, the former president of Kenya, and the former deputy president of the Republic of South Africa. They have dwelled with us on this process with all sincerity, digging deep, diving deep into their wealth of political and conflict prevention experience. Without them, without the parties, and without the support of the people of Ethiopia, both the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia and the Tigray region, peace will have eluded us. So we are very proud that today we are commencing a major step in the monitoring, verification, and compliance mechanism. Let me use this opportunity to thank all those behind the scenes, in the front lines, in the backstage, in the commission, including our director, all those who have worked tirelessly for peace in Ethiopia. As I've always said, the peace in Ethiopia is the peace of the African Union. Why? Because we reside here. Our families go to school here. Our members of our family work here. And the peace that Ethiopia enjoys will be the peace that the African Union enjoy. After over 50 years as host, the African Union is committed, will invest all its resources, capacity-wide, capabilities, and experience to make sure that Pretoria Agreement remains the essence for lasting peace in this region. I once again want to thank the members of the panel, want to thank our observers, our partners, particularly the IGAD, the United States, and the UN for their long-standing support. But this is the crunch time. This is the time for all of us to rally around and support this peace effort. On behalf of the chairperson, His Excellency Musa Faki Mahamat, once again, I welcome you to this launch of the monitoring, verification, and compliance framework. We wish you the best, and we wish the people of Tigray lasting peace. We wish the people of Ethiopia prosperity and joy, not only for this season that we all celebrate as Christmas, but the season for peace that will be everlasting, and prosperity will become the joy of all the people of the Horn of Africa and the people of our continent. I thank you so much.
I have the singular honor of inviting His Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo, who is a general unlike Getachew and I, former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the High Representative for the Horn of Africa, and of course the leader of the AU panel. Mr. President, sir.
President Uhuru Kenyatta, my dear brother, let me stand on the protocol established by the Commissioner, but let me particularly thank the President of Tigray region for hosting this meeting today, but particularly for tolerating me 10 times in the past, or 9 times in the past. Today is the 10th occasion that he will receive me since my appointment 17 months ago. Let me appreciate our partners because they have stayed the course and they have not only remained with us, they have made us to do what we have wished to do by ourselves. That is for us as Africans to be in the vanguard of finding solution to African problems. But with the support, the understanding of our partners, our friends. And on this occasion, we have walked our talk, and our partners have been our partners indeed. Let me just say that what we are doing here today, which is a continuation of what we achieved, the peace agreement that we achieved in Pretoria on the 2nd of November, will continue until we all feel comforted and comfortable about the situation in this country. Let me thank and appreciate the AU Commission and the chair of that commission, Ambassador Faki, who, of course, appointed me as the High Representative of the Commission of the AU for the Horn of Africa, and by which I become the chair of the panel that constitutes the body now handling the issue directly, made up of my brother, President Uhuru Kenyatta, and our sister, the former Deputy President of South Africa, who sends her apology on this occasion. Let me also thank and appreciate those who have given us support, particularly the African Development Bank, because they have backed us up with financial resources for this program or for the effort that I undertake to be maintained. Now I come to the leaders on both sides, at the government, at the federal government side, and on the Tigray side. You have shown great leadership on both sides, and this I can testify to for what I have seen in the last 17 months. And without the great leadership that you have shown, we will not have been where we are today, where we are seeing light beyond the tunnel. We have an agreement, a peace agreement, which was immediately followed by the commanders on both sides meeting and reaching agreement. And then that took place in Kenya. And second, Nairobi, which was to talk about the details of DDR. Each agreement or each meeting is a build up to complete cessation of hostility and complete normalcy of situation in Ethiopia. I want to commend the two parties for getting themselves to see what AU is working at: peace, security, and stability in the whole of African continent, and of course wherever there is conflict or dispute that will affect the normal development of that area. When I came on the scene, some of the early problems have disappeared or almost completely disappeared. We had the issue of humanitarian access. That, to a large extent, has been taken care of. We have the issue of restoration of services. As of today, almost all the areas where services have not been working, or where they have been terminated as a result of the conflict, they are being restored. Electricity has been restored. Air travel has been restored. Telecommunication has been restored. And I understand that banking services will be restored. The persons or the personnel, the officials, are already on the ground. These are what, in fact, the last time I was here, our distinguished religious leaders made specific the specific request on this issue of restoration of services. And I'm happy that they are all with us today, and they are witnesses to the restoration of services. The DDR, I understand the meeting that was held in Nairobi last week also reached agreement on modus operandi of the DDR. That too is moving us one step further. But today, we want to formally launch the mission for monitoring, for verification, for compliance with the agreement, or in fact with the agreements that have been signed, both in Pretoria and in Nairobi. We have seen goodwill, we have seen good intentions, we have seen that on both sides confidence building measures are being instituted, trust building measures are also being put in place. I must commend on the federal government side the visit of the Speaker and about half a dozen ministers from Addis Ababa to Tigray to Mekelle this week. It is this type of move, this type of action that will increase confidence and enhance trust, and will make us to get to where we want to get to as fast as possible. But for all this, we must also appreciate and commend the people of Ethiopia. Some of whom have paid the supreme price, some of whom have suffered in the process of the conflict, and some of who are even in the IDPs as we gather here. And we hope that what we are doing here today, what we have done in the past and what we are doing here today, will lead to those in the IDPs going back home before the new year. Let me say that we appointed by the AU to see to the building and enhancement of peace, security, and stability, promotion of peace, security, and stability. We continue relentlessly to do our best and to put our services on the table for the AU, for the people of Ethiopia, and I particularly for the region, the Horn of Africa region. Let me also thank the senior commanders, the general, particularly the general and the field marshal, who met in Nairobi, for the way they conducted themselves and the way they have been conducting themselves since the agreement they reached in Nairobi. It is a good example, and I'm particularly proud of them because I feel that they have behaved like they should behave. Officers and gentlemen. Let me now challenge the members of the monitoring compliance and verification mission. This task that you have in your hand is a grave and serious task. The way you handle it can enhance and can make easy and make easily attainable or easily achievable the objective of the agreements that we have signed, that have been signed in Pretoria and Nairobi. And I will appeal to you to take it very, very seriously and go by the letters and the spirit of the agreements in the implementation of your mission. And if this is done as it should be done, we will get to where we want to get to. A situation of peace, a situation of security, a situation of solidarity and stability in this country, which will augur well for the entire Horn of Africa and indeed for Africa. I thank you.
As always, a lot of wisdom. I've had the pleasure of working with him over the past 15 months or so, and I think he said this is his 10th time here. But we've traveled across Ethiopia. We went to Desi, we went to Kombolcha, we went to Afar, we went to Baharda. So I really like to call on you for us to really appreciate him, not only for the role that he is playing here, but for being one of the elders on the African continent. May we please appreciate him one more time. Thank you. Thank you very much, Baba, for your service. Without further ado, I would now invite His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, former President of the Republic of Kenya, and a member of the AU High-Level Panel, and of course, he's the one who commissioned Getachew and I last week. Mr. President, sir.
Thank you, Director. My older brother, President Obasanjo, my dear friends, Gideon, Dr. Debretsion, members of your delegation, our dear religious leaders, our friends and partners who have come here to join us. Let me say what a great pleasure it is for me to be here, to join all of you as we launch this monitoring and verification process. Let me begin, as others have said before me, by congratulating our two sides. It has been, for me, a long walk since we came together in Pretoria in November, beginning part of November. And the tensions, the suspicions, the heated debates that eventually led to an agreement. An agreement that we are seeing slowly being implemented, but I must say, for me, the most important thing I have seen is that growing spirit of camaraderie, friendship, trust building, confidence building between the two parties. I remember there was a time it was impossible to get my dear friend here, Getachew, and Red One sitting together in a room without them looking at each other in a manner I would not like to describe here. To seeing them in Nairobi last week, where both of them were telling my friend Gideon, you finish the agreement, we want to sign and go home. We want to go and have dinner. Now that's a spirit. You are now Ethiopians together, working as one for the peace and stability of your country. And this is what we want to encourage you to continue doing. Progress has been made. We have begun to see the beginnings of humanitarian corridors being open, resumption of services, electricity, telecoms, banking, very soon, amongst others. But there is still, and we all know, a lot of work to be done. And that can only succeed if you continue to work together as you have over the past. We will continue to walk with you on this journey as we continue with that spirit of African solutions for African problems. We want to also encourage our partners. We are now reaching that critical stage where your support will be very important in the steps that lie ahead, especially as we begin with the DDR processes. Your support to this process will be critical. And we look forward to working together with you to ensure that success, partnering together with you to ensure that success. And finally, we have been inching closer and closer. We started in Pretoria. We promised ourselves we would meet in Nairobi. We said we would meet in Mekelle. And I look forward to that final meeting in Addis Ababa, where Ethiopians will take full control over their affairs and ensure that a peaceful, lasting solution is found that shall result in never again seeing the blood of the people of this great land being shed when we can find political solutions to those problems. So, ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to joining you here again. I look forward to participating with you in the early part of the year. As we all know, we need to have that second conference to launch off that DDR process, the political process. And my prayer to you as we come to your Christmas season is that we shall give the people of Ethiopia a true and blessed Christmas come January 7th because of the progress that we shall have made. So, ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, I wish you all the best. I wish our officers who have come from different parts of our continent and who will lead the process of monitoring, verifying, and ensuring compliance as per the Pretoria Agreement, every success. And I do hope that you will lend them the same support as they go about their duties as you have done and continue to do in the past, so that we can indeed make progress. And I just want to conclude by saying, time is of the essence. Thank you all, and God bless.
ክቡራንና ክቡራት በማዕከላችን ያሉ የውጭ እንግዶችን በማክበር ንግግሬን በእንግሊዘኛ ማድረግ ቢሆንም ከዛ ቀደም ብዬ ከቅርብም ከሩቅም ይህንን መርሃ ግብር ለመከታተል ለመጣችሁ በርቀትም ይህንን መርሃ ግብር ለምትከታተሉ የሀገሬ ሰዎች ሁሉ የሰላም አየር ይሁንልን፣ ሰላሙን ያብዛልን፣ ሰላሙ ይዝለቅልን ለማለት እወዳለሁ። እንደምታውቁት በዚህ ሳምንት መቀሌ ስመጣ ሁለተኛ ቀኔ ነው። እንዲሁ ለሁላችንም ከመቀሌ አዲስ አበባ፣ ከመቀሌ ባህር ዳር፣ ከመቀሌ ሰመራ፣ ከመቀሌ ጅማ እንዲሁም ወደ ሌሎች የሀገራችን ክፍሎች ያለውን መንገድ የውሃ መንገድ፣ የሰላም መንገድ፣ የወዳጅነት መንገድ ያድርግልን ለማለት እወዳለሁ። Your Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo, former President of the Republic of Nigeria, the High Representative of the African Union for the Horn of Africa and member of the African Union High-Level Panel, Your Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, former President of the Republic of Kenya and member of the African Union High-Level Panel, Your Excellency Dr. Werkneh Gebeyehu, the Executive Secretary of IGAD, Your Excellency Ambassador Bankole Adoye, the African Union Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. On behalf of the government of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, I would like to welcome you all to the launching of the African Union Monitoring, Verification and Compliance Mechanism established pursuant to the Agreement for Lasting Peace through a permanent cessation of hostilities between the government of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia and the Tigray People's Liberation Front, signed on the 2nd of November 2022 at Pretoria, the Republic of South Africa. Excellencies, the launch of the Monitoring, Verification and Compliance Mechanism is an important milestone in the implementation of the peace accord we concluded in Pretoria. The conflict that has ravaged the northern part of Ethiopia for the last 2 years has been very tragic and deadly. It has caused a great deal of pain and suffering. The agreement we have concluded in Pretoria has been a major breakthrough for those who have prayed and toiled for peace. The agreement laid the foundation for lasting peace through a permanent cessation of hostilities. It has effectively silenced the guns. Today's event will mark a major progress in what we hope is an irreversible path towards peace. We have reason for cautious optimism. In the past few weeks, we have taken concrete steps to live up to our commitment to the peaceful resolution of the conflict. Following up, the African Union convened peace talks. Successive rounds of meetings in Nairobi and Shire have fleshed out detailed implementation plans and modalities. The flow of humanitarian aid has improved significantly, essential services are being restored, and today we are witnessing the launch of a mechanism that is essential for monitoring the implementation of the agreement. Yes, there are several critical elements of the agreement that have yet to be implemented. Both sides could raise issues of concern, be it with the pace or the extent of implementation. Nevertheless, broadly speaking, I believe that we are on a positive trajectory. The momentum is on the side of peace. If we keep the course we have adopted in the past few months, we are headed in the right direction and will arrive at a very good destination. The government of Ethiopia believes that the launch of this mechanism will provide an impetus in our effort to build an enduring peace. We are of the view that the mechanism will boost our commitment and resolve to adhere to our respective obligations under the Pretoria Accord. Therefore, it's critical that the monitoring and verification mechanism we are launching today be effective, robust, and credible. In this regard, by agreeing to a significant increment in the number of additional personnel to be deployed within this mechanism, the government of Ethiopia has shown its resolve for the full implementation of the agreement. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my gratitude to all who have played a constructive role and contributed to the stage we have reached today. The African Union, members of the African Union High-Level Panel, and other partners who have been instrumental in helping us build a pathway to peace deserve our respect and appreciation. On behalf of all Ethiopians, I would like to say thank you. በጣም እናመሰግናለን. I would also like to remind my compatriots from all sides that no amount of external monitoring and verification would be able to secure peace if we do not have the resolve and the will to say no to violence. Too much blood has been spilled. Too many tears have been shed. Too much life has been lost. It is now time for reconciliation and rebuilding. We need to reflect on the lessons to be learned from the tragedy of the last 2 years. On disarmament, demobilization and reintegration, on political dialogue and accountability, as well as other matters, there is a lot of work that lies ahead of us. The progress we have made thus far towards peace gives us confidence that we can overcome the challenge we may encounter. As long as we remain committed to our undertaking to renounce violence and embrace dialogue, the difficulties we face are not insurmountable. Peace cannot be externally imposed. We need to nurture and own the fledgling hope of peace we see today. When Ethiopians collectively put their minds together, we can accomplish great things. We are long-distance runners with endurance and grit. We might appear to be taking it slow, but we will go far. With the support of our friends and partners, I am confident that despite the complexities and challenges we face, we will continue to make progress on the implementation of the Pretoria Agreement. We are committed to building an enduring peace throughout Ethiopia. Finally, on behalf of the government of Ethiopia, I would like to wish the team of African experts a successful mission. I would also like to assure the team, the African Union, and all other partners that the government of Ethiopia is committed to providing all the necessary support for the successful implementation of the agreement and for the success of this mission. May peace prevail. I thank you. አመሰግናለሁ።
Thank you very much, Dr. Gideon. I think you delivered a very clear and powerful message. Peace cannot be externally imposed. And you also, a message to the panel, the members of the team, the verification mechanism. I can commit on behalf of the AU that they will be professional, they will be effective, they will be efficient, and they will lead by the highest African standards in the discharge of their mandate here. So thank you very much. At this point, I have the honor of inviting my dear brother, His Excellency the President of the Tigray region, Dr. Debretsion Gebremichael, representing the Tigray People's Liberation Front. It's now I see is my colleague, the Nairobi General, who will come. Getashu, please.
It's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. It should have been the president who would address his guests here. But as head of the delegation, Tigray delegation, it is altogether unfitting that I address this panel, because I have also to extend my appreciation to not just a panel who have been doing an excellent job. As you have rightly pointed out, this is the 10th time President Obasanjo has been to Mekelle. We have made him a litany of promises which we intend to keep as long as he remains seized with the issue of peace as part of that. It's also my pleasure to welcome President Uhuru Kenyatta, who's been very consistent in his unreserved effort to make sure that peace prevails in this part of the world. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Commissioner Bankole and my friend Workana Gabeyo, Executive Secretary of IGAD, who's been in this with us together. I'd like to welcome you to Mekelle once again. This has indeed been an exercise where people have been trying everything within their power to make sure that people who've been fighting each other, tearing each other apart, come together and address their problems in a peaceful manner. And I have every reason to believe that we have achieved quite a feat as far as bringing the two sides together. And of course, we have made significant progress since the signing of the agreement in Pretoria. And we are meeting here today to launch the monitoring and verification mechanism, which will be tasked with ensuring that the agreement that has been signed between the two sides is implemented in a manner that ensures sustainable peace in this part of the world, in this part of the country, in the entire country at large, of course. And it is very important at this point in time to also thank the international community, as I see members of the diplomatic corps who are here to support this process, because as Gideon has rightly pointed out, peace cannot be imposed from outside. It is rather painful that it took canceling their holiday, canceling their schedules to bring us together in Pretoria. But it's important that it was done largely by our African brothers, but it is also important that the international community, which has been throwing its full weight behind this process, needs to be recognized for what it has done to bring the two sides together. As I have tried to mention earlier, there is a significant progress since the signing of the agreement in 2nd of November in Pretoria. The disengagement of forces has been very exemplary and based on a cordial working relationship between our two forces. The fact that our two commanders have been communicating, and there was a clear commitment on the part of the government of Tigray or the Tigray forces to implement the agreement, simply meant there was a very good working relationship between the two sides from the get-go, and the disengagement process has been quite exemplary, and the progress so far is something that needs to be applauded. Yes, to give you just an update, today battalion of the ANDF just moved in to. And I know this is something Major General Radina should have broken as something. We have done every effort on our part to make sure that all the heavy weapons that we have at our disposal are there for the monitors to monitor. Of course, the battalion that's responsible has already moved into the position, and it's clearly showed that with a clear understanding between our two sides, there is nothing that cannot be achieved. And I would have preferred for Chief Obasanjo and my brother, President Kenyatta, to be there to see for themselves how committed we are to implement this and implement it fully. Humanitarian access, I don't have to mention. I know there are hiccups here and there, but at least in large part, it has been a work in progress. It's been quite encouraging. But far more important than the kinds of activities that have, flurry of activities that have been going on since the signing of the agreement, the decision by the Ethiopian government to send a delegation. The other day, as Gideon has rightly pointed out, he's coming here for a second time. His presence, more than its political relevance, has been quite a drag on my financial resources, because I have to pay for their lodgings and their subsistence. I don't think the government is ready to pay for their visit here, but I'm not complaining about it. But the thing is, the fact that the delegation came here, I have to tell you, the delegation came here without even security, close protection guards or close protection support from their side. So it shows the level of confidence they have with their brothers in Mekelle, their brothers in Tigray, their brothers and sisters in Tigray. They want to continue that, and of course, it is long overdue. I know the restoration of services that has come trickling in since the visit of the House Speaker, with, of course, about half a dozen ministers and other high-ranking officials, simply means that if we put our heads together, there is little that can stand in the way of progress. And we would like to appreciate what has transpired since then, but we still believe that there is a long way to go before the whole gamut of services that the people of Tigray richly deserve are fully restored. And as long as there is the commitment, and I believe there is that commitment, there is nothing that will stop us from achieving our objectives. And we have to continue to work together, and this is something that needs to be appreciated as well. Yes, we can get more things done. We still have a long way to go before we can say that spoilers in the form of external forces. There are a number of things that need to be done with respect to protection of civilians. But what we have seen so far is that as long as we continue to put our heads together, there is nothing we cannot achieve. There is every hope and expectation on our part that we, by continuing to work together, will be in a position to ensure lasting peace in this part of the country, which is going to be quite phenomenal in terms of what its impact is going to be in the peace and stability of the country. We have to work towards normalcy, the return of IDPs, civilian protection. These are the kinds of things we still believe we have to work really hard on. But I would be remiss if I fail to appreciate the level of commitment that has been on display by our two sides. And it's for us to maintain the momentum and to redouble our efforts and to engage in a kind of serious political dialogue that will help us address the underlying political problems that gave rise to the conflict in the first place. And I have reason to believe that with the right support, with the right commitment on the part of the two sides, nothing will stop us from achieving those things. I have to quote Gideon himself. We have reason for cautious optimism. It is good to be cautious about optimism, but it is entirely different when the mutual mistrust and the mutual suspicion that has informed most of our engagements is allowed to fester. And it's my hope and expectation that we lay the groundwork for a political environment that will give us an opportunity to shed the tears of our people, to stop the spilling of more blood, to not just silence the guns, but to make sure that the guns do not go operational once again. There could be proclivities here and there, but it is for us. It's for us to be responsible and to put every effort that we can to make sure that those proclivities to engage in name-calling, to engage in settling scores are kept in check. And I have every reason to believe that this position this position from the government of Tigray, the Tigray forces, is equally reciprocated by our friends in Addis Ababa. And it is clear that what transpired yesterday, in terms of engagements between our two sides on the ground, is a clear testament that whatever we want to achieve in this regard can be achieved and will be achieved. We have a big task of rebuilding communities which have been destroyed as a result of this senseless violence that has been claiming the lives of tens of thousands of people the last 2.5 years. And it's for us to make sure that this conflict is laid to rest. And of course, we go back to the business of rebuilding our communities. And I know as long as there is a commitment on our part to make sure that we continue to rebuild our communities, the international community will also be extending whatever support is necessary for us to realize such an objective. And it's my hope and expectation that we continue to work together, not only to silence the guns and to ensure a sustainable peace, but also to make sure that the rebuilding of our communities is something that should be a priority, and no spoiler, either from here or beyond, should be allowed to stand in the way of that mission to rebuild our communities. And it behooves us to put our efforts together, to put our heads together, to make sure that any relapse to violence, any relapse to mutual suspicion and distrust is held in check. And I'm pretty confident at this point in time we'll be in a position to address whatever challenge that could lay ahead of us and ensure lasting peace for our people who so richly deserve the kind of stability they have been yearning for quite so long. Thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to thank once again members of the panel who've been doing every effort they can. And I wish you could stay longer so I would keep the promise that I made to President Uhuru, and some of the promises we made to Chief Obasanjo, we still will keep. I don't have to diverge the secret here, but we'll have faith in you as the chiefs that you are, and still you have honored us with your presence, and your continued support and involvement in this is very significant, and I thank you. Well, like I said, President Debretsion has done his part to welcome you, but it is his responsibility to fit you, and I'm doing this on his behalf, and I hope he won't fail, and he hasn't failed, and he won't fail in extending the kind of warm welcome that you so richly deserve. I know Baba knows this, but it's for the first time that President Kenyatta was in Magala, and thank you.
No, thank you very much, Getachew. I think what is interesting, your message mirrors that of Dr. Gideon in so many ways. And I think for me, you raised 3 points, and I will just raise those for very good reasons. One, the ENDF battalion that has moved in and done so peacefully, the heavy weapons that have been handed over through our general, under the supervision of General Rodina. But more importantly, I think you raised a point, which I think for me is a sign of the confidence. The Speaker of Parliament and 7 cabinet members came here without close protection. It says 2 things. Number 1, that you have confidence that General Tadesse and others will not hurt you when you are here. And you came, you went back to Addis, and you are here for the second time. I think that is extremely important. And for that, through the 2 former presidents and the commissioner and Dr. Wakne, I really like to appreciate the government and of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia and the regional government for the confidence that is slowly coming back. Thank you very much, and may God bless you. At this point, I would like to invite, you can see I have a lot of brothers. My other brother, Dr. Wakne Gebeyu, the Executive Secretary of IGAD, he is speaking on behalf of the partners. It was not a democratic process. We decided that he will speak on behalf of the partners. So if you have any questions relating to democracy or how he ended up speaking up on your behalf, it was AU that chose him to speak. So Dr. Wakne, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Director Al-Haji. A lot of very important speeches has made. Mine is very short. Your Excellency, the members of the panel, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, Your Excellency Dr. Debretsion Gebremichael, Your Excellency Commissioner Bankole, Your Excellency Dr. Gideon Timotheus, Head of Delegation from Ethiopia, delegations from both sides, religious leaders, partners, ambassadors. As Director Bankole, Director Al-Haji said, I am making this statement on behalf of IGAD, the United Nations, and the United States of America as observers of this peace process. First and foremost, not only as a head of regional organization of IGAD, but also as a citizen of this country. It is a very special day for me to be here in Tigray, Mekelle again. Let me take this opportunity to thank the leadership of both parties, the peace partners, who committed themselves for this very important peace process which saved the citizens of this country. So I want to thank both the leadership from both sides. This commitment has saved the life and the livelihood of our citizens from both sides, even if we lost a lot of our citizens from both sides. This was a war between brothers and sisters. And finally, this is a peace between a family. Your Excellencies, on behalf of the partners, the observers, I am here to reaffirm you to support the implementation of this peace process through verification and compliance mechanism. I know that a lot of positive things are happening, like resumption of service, transport, communication, and most importantly, people-to-people relationship. Yesterday I was seeing that people are hugging each other when they reach to see their beloved ones. Nothing makes you emotional than seeing the families are uniting back after more than 2 years of difficult time. I myself, so emotional when I met a lot of my friends here. Once we were working together, having a lot of memories, good and bad. Your Excellencies, at this very important juncture, I ask, the most important thing is building trust after all these things happened. Let all of us, the leadership here, the media, the religious leaders, let us build the trust which we have already had a deficit of trust. Trust is everything. All the plans, all verification mechanisms will be implemented once we achieved that trust level. I wish lasting peace for the people of Tigray. I wish lasting peace for the people of Ethiopia as a whole. Thank you very much.
The joint committee, which is the political level management process for this monitoring and verification, and then the monitoring and verification and compliance mission itself. For the joint committee, I would just like to say that on the committee, there will be representatives of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, representatives of the TPLF, representatives of IGAD, and this will be chaired by the AU with the support of the high-level panel. So without further ado, we now will have a decoration ceremony where our distinguished high-level personalities will decorate the 3 officers who are here as the nucleus of the monitoring and verification mechanism. At this point, I would like to invite Major General Stephen Radina, who will be decorated by former President Olusegun Obasanjo. General Radina. Thank you, President Obasanjo, and congratulations, Major General Radina. As a team leader, we expect the highest standards of African values from you and your. The second officer to be decorated, this officer will be decorated by the former President Uhuru Kenyatta, is Colonel Tefo Sekole from the Republic of South Africa. Colonel Sekole. Thank you, Mr. President, and congratulations, Colonel Sekole. The third officer to be decorated, he will be decorated by Commissioner Bankole and the Executive Secretary of IGAD, Dr. Wokne, is Colonel Rufai Umar Mairiga. Colonel Umar. Thank you very much, Commissioner Bankole and Dr. Wokne, and congratulations, Colonel Umar. Excellencies, at this point, I would like to invite General Radina, I would like to invite Colonel Tefo and General Omar, even before you take your seat, to come and join the panel here for a group photo. Thank you. We can do it right here. Yes. Thank you very much. Now come to the end of this exercise. I think you are going to start working in earnest. So I think, General, you started your work this morning, you observed, and you'll be reporting to us on that. But now you have to start working also by giving the vote of thanks on behalf of the panel and everyone else here, so that both the federal government and the people of Mekele who will be hosting you will hear you loud and clear. Over to you, General.
Thank you, Director. Your Excellencies, all protocols observed, as introduced by the AU High-Level Panel, I am Major General Stephen Rodina, the head of Monitoring, Verification, and Compliance Mission. And on behalf of the AU, I wish to thank you for the confidence and trust bestowed in me to lead this most important mission. I came ahead yesterday and I had an opportunity to interact. I saw a lot of enthusiasm with the population. I also had an opportunity to visit a mechanized garrison at Agula, where I saw an assortment of heavy weapons and the willingness to hand over and continue with the peace process. My mission is to monitor, verify, and observe compliance inconsistent with the peace agreement. On behalf of the AU, I thank the AU High-Level Panel and the Commissioner for facilitating this Africa-led peace process. I look forward to the continued support of all bilateral and multilateral partners to the AU-led peace process. I also look forward to the cooperation of the parties at the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia and the Tigray People's Liberation Front towards this process. Your Excellencies, all protocols observed, I wish to thank everyone for gracing this occasion And thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you.
General, thank you. Thank you very much. I think at this point, what you have on the program, we have essentially come to the end of the program, but I'm abusing my role here as the moderator to say, you know, as an Alhaji, you don't have to guess my religion. But when the Prophet Muhammad was persecuted, when he fled from Mecca to Medina, some of his people ended up in this region. So this is a land of religion, and we have, of course, the Orthodox Church. So this is a land of people of faith. So what I would like to request with the permission of President Obasanjo and President Kenyatta and the Commissioner is for the religious leaders here to join them in front here for a group photo. This is a historic moment. They are here to bless us. We are in a very blissful land, or blessed land, and we have to also make sure that it is captured and documented in what we do as the African Union. So with your permission, Excellencies, I would like to invite the religious leaders, if they can step forward and take a picture with the high-level panel before we conclude this exercise. Thank you very much, sir.
بتي أحلفه أبا أشي بتي محري نافتي أصغره محري بخلهم وزاي
Okay, thank you very much. And finally, I would like to invite the members of the diplomatic corps to come. I'm sure some of them also will offer a bit of prayers. I'm not sure who is a priest amongst them, but I would like to invite all members of the diplomatic corps, of course, including the African member states who are here. If you can step forward for a photo with the... Hey, Mika, it's going to be a large photo. Oops, sorry. It's okay. I think we...
It's mine.